Every meal the emperor eats, you eat first. Not because you are honored. Because if the dish is poisoned, the palace would rather bury you than him. You take the first bite. Then you count, and you wait to find out whether you get up from the table. You do this for years, and for years the poison never comes. Then, one evening, a woman in that court draws you aside and speaks very softly and never raises her voice once. And at the next feast, you carry the emperor's favorite dish in yourself, past every guard, and for the first time you do not take the bite. You already know what happens to a man who serves an emperor his last supper. Keep that certainty. You are going to need it, and it is going to be wrong. In that court, you are the least important man allowed to touch the emperor's food. That is the whole reason you are allowed to touch it. The silver tray comes through the doors while the hall is still cold and half lit. Covered dishes, one after another, are set down in front of you, not in front of him. A servant lifts the first lid. You do not wait to be told. Your hand reaches the dish before his hand ever will. Every meal the emperor eats begins here, in your mouth, at the edge of his own table. You sit closer to the throne than the guards do, closer than his advisors, closer, some nights, than his own family. It looks like the seat of a trusted man. It is the seat of a man they are willing to lose. Nobody in that hall calls what you do an honor. They call you the taster. Everyone at the table knows exactly what the word is for. The first bite is always yours. You lift the spoon while the food is still warm, and the whole table waits for you to do it. Not one of them will touch a dish until it has passed through you. You put the emperor's supper in your mouth. You chew. You swallow. Somewhere across the hall he is talking, laughing, not even looking at you, because looking at you is not his job. Yours is to find the poison with your own body before it can reach his. If the dish is clean, he eats. If it is not, you are the one who tells him by what happens to you next. You take a portion of every dish, the meat, the wine, the soft favorite things he loves most, the ones a poisoner would hide it in. Each one goes into you first. Then you set the spoon down, and you sit very still, because the next part is not something you do. It is something done to you. Now you count, not out loud. You sit with your hands in your lap, and you listen to your own heartbeat, and you count it. The room has gone quiet around you without anyone deciding it should. This is the part no one talks through. A slow poison does not announce itself. It lets you swallow, lets you sit, lets you believe, and then it comes for the stomach an hour later, or two. So you count. You wait to learn whether the warmth spreading through you is only food or the beginning of the end of you. Every meal closes with this silence. Every meal, you are the clock the whole table is watching. Nothing happens. That is the whole of it. No cramp, no cold sweat, no hand rising to your throat. The count runs out and your body stays your own. You breathe. Only now does the emperor reach for the food, because your stillness has told him it is safe. He eats what you already ate. He never thanks you for it. Why would he? A man does not thank the lock on his door. The plates are cleared. The hall fills back up with noise, and you stand, and your legs hold you, and you have done the one thing the job asks. You have lived through his dinner. You walk out under your own weight. You will sleep tonight. Tomorrow the tray comes again, and the covered dishes come again, and you sit down and become the clock again. This is not a thing that happens once. It happens to you every single day, and every day it ends the same quiet way, until you start to believe it always will. That belief is the most dangerous thing they ever hand you. One dinner becomes 100. 100 becomes more than you bother to count. Season after season the tray comes, and season after season you meet it and walk back out alive. Something shifts in the room while you do this, though no one ever says it. The guard who used to watch your hands stops watching them. The servants stop flinching when you reach in first. The emperor, who never looked at you, begins to eat the moment you sit, before you have even finished. Your survival has become a habit the whole court leans on. You are the man who does not die. Meal after meal you have proven it, and every proof buys you a little closer to him. Nobody grants you this trust in words. It gathers quietly out of all the nights you failed to drop dead. And trust in that court is not a reward. It is a door being left open behind you, one you cannot yet see the other side of. By now your hands are the most trusted hands in the palace. Think about where that puts you. A guard is searched at the door. A cook is washed over the pot. A visitor is kept 3 rooms away from the emperor's plate. You are kept beside it. You reach into his food every night and no one moves to stop you, because stopping the taster is the one thing that makes no sense. You stand nearer to what he eats than his own wife does, nearer than his son, nearer than the men sworn with swords to keep him breathing. The safest place in the empire has quietly become the seat you are sitting in, and no one has noticed that the safest place is also the finest place from which to do harm. You were handed this nearness one survived meal at a time. It looks like the top of a long climb. It is a loaded thing left out in the open, waiting for a hand. Yours are the hands it is waiting for. One evening a woman stops you in a corridor, away from the hall. She is the emperor's wife. In that court she wants one thing only, her own son on the throne, and the emperor is in the way. She does not raise her voice. She never raises it once. That is the first thing you notice, and the thing you will remember longest. People who mean to frighten you shout. She speaks the way you would speak about the weather. She stands close, because she can, because you are the man no one guards against. And softly, she tells you what she would like to happen at the next feast. She does not call it poison. She does not have to. You understand every word beneath the words. She has seen it before you have. The man they train to swallow death first is the one hand that can carry it in with no one flinching. Your years of surviving did not make you safe. They made you the perfect hand for this. You say nothing in the corridor, but you both already know the answer, because a request from her is not a request. The trap does not slam shut. It closes the way she speaks, softly, without a sound. At the next feast, the dish is his favorite, mushrooms, the soft delicacy he never turns down. You carry it in yourself, under the cover, past the door, past the guards who do not look twice, because a taster carrying a dish is the most ordinary sight in the palace. No one stops you. No one searches the tray. Why would they? You are the safeguard. You are the reason the food is supposed to be safe, and every guard you pass is trusting the very thing that is about to fail him. The covered dish sits in your two hands, warm through the cloth. Inside, it is the one meal you already know you will handle differently than the 1,000 before it. You set it down in front of him. The room expects what it has always seen, your hand reaching in first. You have never once given them anything else. You do not reach in. That is all. That is the whole turn. For years, your hand has moved to the food before his, every meal, without a thought behind it. Tonight, it stays in your lap. The dish sits between you, uncovered, steaming, and untouched by you. You let the small silence pass, the one where your bite should have been, and no one at that table is trained to notice a thing that does not happen. The emperor reaches for his favorite dish himself. He does not wait, because for years he has never once had to wonder. He eats what you did not. The shield the empire built to stand between its ruler and poison simply steps aside, this once, and lets the poison through. You do nothing dramatic. You commit a murder by holding perfectly still. The most trusted hands in the palace kill the emperor by staying exactly where they are. It does not happen at the table. That is how the slow ones work. He finishes the meal in good spirits. He laughs. He goes to bed a living emperor, and you watch him go, and you already know. Hours later, in the dark, it reaches his stomach. He clutches at himself and goes down. The palace wakes the wrong way. All torches and running feet and doors thrown open. Physicians are called. Nothing they do turns it back. Before the sun is up on the 13th of October, the Emperor of Rome is dead, and every hour of it went exactly the way it was meant to. The throne passes that same day to the boy the woman in the corridor wanted on it. The poison was aimed at a single chair, and it landed in that chair, on time. You were the last hand his favorite meal passed through. You gave the empire its clean, punctual murder by doing nothing at all. And now, you are certain the world is going to come for that hand. So you go to your room, and you wait to die. You know how this ends. You have watched that court dispose of men for far less than serving an emperor his last supper. Someone always pays for a dead ruler, and the obvious someone is you, the taster who did not taste. The hand on the fatal dish. Any hour now, boots in the corridor, the door opening without a knock. A charge you cannot answer, and no long count this time, just the end of you. You sit where you can see the doorway. You listen for the footsteps the way you once listened for your own heartbeat after a bite. Every sound out in the hall could be them coming for you. You have swallowed death at that table 1,000 times and lived. This is the one death you are certain you will not walk out of. You keep your eyes on the empty frame of the door, and you wait for it to fill. Nobody comes. The boots never sound in the corridor. The door stays shut, and then it stays shut through the night, and then through the next day. You wait to be dragged out, and instead you are simply left. No charge, no trial. No axe filling the doorway, you cannot stop watching. The hall outside goes on without you anywhere in its plans. And something colder than fear begins to fill the room, because fear at least expects a reckoning. This is the absence of one. You served an emperor his death, and the world has looked at you and decided you are not even worth the troubles punishing. The doorway stays empty. It is the emptiest thing you have ever seen. The new emperor takes the throne, the boy the poison put there. And he keeps you, not in hiding, not in disgrace, on his staff, at his table, doing the very work you did before. The man who saw to the last emperor's death goes on tasting for the next one, as though nothing under the covers ever changed. What that choice tells you is colder than any axe. He knows what your stillness bought. He was the one it bought the throne for. And knowing it, he does not fear you, and he does not remove you. He wants you near, the way a man keeps a proven weapon near once he has seen exactly what it does. You waited to be killed for the murder. Instead, the murder became the reference that keeps you employed. No one says thank you, the same as no one ever did. You are simply not gone. You go back to lifting the first bite for a new master, a known poisoner standing in plain sight, and the strangest part is how ordinary they let it be. The years pass. Emperors rise and fall. At last, a new one takes the throne with a promise the crowd loves, that he will clean out the old regime's worst creatures, the poisoners, the fixers, the ones with blood dried under their nails. Your name is on every list of theirs. In the streets, they call for you by what you are. They want the taster who killed an emperor dragged out at last. So you wait one more time for the reckoning that never arrives. It does not arrive this time either. The new emperor hears the calls for your death, and he does not hand you over. He hands you an office instead. A great post in the running of the empire, the kind that makes a man rich. You, the known poisoner, are given a seat in the government and left to grow fat on it. And now you understand the thing that was true from the very first bite. They never spared you out of mercy. They spared you because of what you are. A man who will poison an emperor when the right voice asks softly and never flinch and never talk of it after is not a man an empire throws away. He is a tool too rare to break. You grow wealthy in that office. You hold it until the day you die, still employed, still useful, still kept. The most disposable man at the table turned out to be the one thing none of them could afford to lose. You were never the victim of this story. You were its most valuable hand, and they paid you for the one meal you refused to taste.